This is Am I the Astronaut for wanting to go low contact with my sisters for a few weeks. So I, 23 female, have been dating my boyfriend, John, 27 male, for about 2 years. We met through work and were good friends for about 3 years before we started dating. The only issue is we live 7 hours apart. We take turns making the drive and are usually able to spend 2 to 3 weekends a month together, as well as most holidays. That would suck. Living 7 hours away from your betrothed, your intended other. That would make life very, very complicated. We have reached the point where we are about to get engaged, and I'm planning to move up with him since I can relocate much easier, and all of his family lives in the same area unlike mine. His family and friends have been nothing but sweet and welcoming to me since I've known them, minus his mother. She and I had our issues, and there were times when she was sweet and others when she was just judgmental, but he always had my back, and she recently came and apologized for her behavior, and things have been much better between us. Time out? What? You've got a future mother-in-law here who was like, I'm so sorry I've been bitchy to you. I will be better. That's a good sign, surprisingly. Cautiously optimistic, we'll put it that way. My family, on the other hand, are not supportive of my moving up there and haven't always been the nicest to him. Well, that sucks. Background, I have 3 sisters, 27, 26, and 21. We grew up in a very difficult and traumatic situation to the point where we didn't have contact with a 27-year-old from the time I was 12 to 18. Because of a rough home life, we all grew up very quickly to the point that I was self-sufficient by 16. We all got back in contact right before I joined the military, where I met John. I recently graduated college and am now in a remote graduate program as well as working, so it was a no-brainer for me to be the one to move. As you can imagine, everyone is scared that a separation between sisters will happen again, so we've become almost too close. We have weekly FaceTime calls, group texts, and are almost completely dependent on each other. I love all of them dearly, but none of them have made an effort to get to know John no matter what he does. My little sister seems to like him when it's just us, but as soon as the older ones come around, she changes her tune. They recently all got upset with me on the phone because I called them out for their behavior and the way they gang up on anyone they dislike and don't agree with, including me. This has been a problem since we were children that they also acknowledged. This is not the first time they have done things like this, and I have a difficult time communicating with them all in a group setting. I love talking with them individually and tried to tell them that I would take some time away from the group activities and chats, and they freaked out. I tried to tell them that I still wanted to talk to them all individually, just not in a group setting. They are blaming John for my decision, when he is in fact trying to help me resolve these issues with them because he knows how much I love them. They are calling me a jerk and saying I overreacted, but I have had many conversations with them on how the way they treat John makes me feel. He has never complained and always has been helpful, kind, and polite to them, but they don't always treat him the same way. I have always said I don't need them to like my decision, but they have to respect it, and that I hope they would support me, but I haven't gotten any of those things. So am I the astronaut for wanting to go low contact with my sisters for a few weeks until I feel more mentally healthy? No. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Hold on. No, you are not the asshole for wanting this. We'll talk about it more here in just a second.
No, I agree with you. I don't think she's the asshole.
So the question was...
That's right. It's so am I the asshole for wanting to go low contact with my sisters for a few weeks until I feel more mentally healthy?
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about this, and I'm curious as to your feedback with this, but she still wants to talk to them individually, but doesn't want to talk to them in a group because they have mob mentality. Yeah. And that probably has a lot to do with their upbringing, right? They had to be like a group to survive, and had to be stronger and meaner together than they were individually on their own.
I wonder if okay, so they're just blaming him because they feel like he took her away because he lives 7 hours away. Is that...
that's what it seems like. Yeah, they just won't give him a chance, period.
That's just, I mean, that's unhealthy. And to be like, there's someone that she chose to be with, to not even give them a chance to like get to know them and be a part of her life. So if someone chooses to treat the people that you love like shit, then you're going to have to start going low contact. I mean, you don't have a choice at this point.
Are any of them married?
How old was she? Like, where does she fit into the age groups?
So she has 27, 26, and 21. What is she, 23? Scroll back up. Yeah, 23. Okay. So
she's one of the younger ones. So I would bet that the older ones, because of the way that they grew up, feel like parents, but it's almost like they're overprotective to a point of causing issues in in her life. So I think that's where why they're suffocating her basically.
Right. Well, and the younger one is fine on her own, but as soon as the older ones show up, she just adopts their mentality
because
as
they're
well
like
here.
they're the older two, I would imagine, are like the parents in the situation, so the younger one's going to automatically follow suit with what the elders believe.
And I understand being critical of partners of your loved ones in a protective way, but also, like, what's the goal?
There you go. Ash Wag said, sounds like a trauma bond that without therapy has gotten toxic. Yeah.
So
exactly.
they've been protective of each other through being hypercritical and negative about things. But I think part of being protective of someone also has to be what's the goal of that? You want them to be happy, right?
Right.
I mean, you would hope that they're in negative protection mode instead of like stepping toward a positive kind of scenario mode.
And it doesn't sound like they've ever given her a reason as to why they don't like John. They just don't want to get to know him. They don't want him to break up this circle that they have, which like Ash said, that's toxic. To not be able to have anyone else in this circle ever in your life, that's toxic.
It might not even be John. It might just be all dudes.
Right.
It might be all men that they are just automatically opposed to. We don't know anything else about if any of the other sisters are married or in relationships or have kids or anything like that. But I would not be surprised if part of their trauma was male directed. And because of that, they are just any male who tries to enter their lives, they're immediately protective of and do not like.
Yeah.
But I think as a sibling, protector, whatever you want to say, you have to be thinking about the ultimate happiness of your sibling and want something that's good for them.
Yeah, you're NTA, and I think if you want your relationship with John to succeed, you got to figure it out so that it doesn't do permanent damage on your relationship.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to lose your sisters, but at the same time, you can't give them that kind of control.
Going low contact with him is probably a good baby step, but you're going to get to the point where you have to create a firm boundary and say, look, if you want to be a part of my life, you've got to be accepting of the other parts of my life. And if you don't accept those things, you don't get to be a part of my life. It's pretty simple.
Right.
So it's NTA for her wanting to take that time. It's not enough. There will have to be there's going to have to be more drastic action taken at some point. It's just a matter of time, but you're getting a good preview of how they're going to react right now, and it ain't good. So because of that, I think if you baby step your way through this, it's going to be pain over a longer period of time. This feels like a rip off the Band-Aid kind of thing. Take that large amount of pain over a short amount of time, and then you'll have more time to be truly happy and time for them to adjust rather than gradually making them pissed over a long period of time. It's your choice, though. You approach it whichever way feels right to you, but it's going to be the same amount of pain no matter what.